Here's a psychological fact you're not ready for. Toxic people know who you are before you know who they are. And no, it's not intuition. It's not energy. It's not some mystical vibe. It's a very specific psychological pattern that's been studied and documented. Psychologists call it relational vulnerability detection. And once you understand how it works, you're going to see exactly why this keeps happening to you. Stay with me because by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the exact signals you're sending without even realizing it, and more importantly, how to stop sending them immediately. This isn't about becoming cold or defensive. This is about understanding the game so you can stop playing it. Let's start with something most people completely miss. Toxic people have what researchers call a low-effort social radar. They're not analyzing your personality. They're not studying your past. They're definitely not reading your mind. What they are doing is scanning your microactions in real time. Here's what that looks like in practice. You say no, but you smile to soften it. Something bothers you, but you minimize it with phrases like, "It's fine," or "No big deal." Someone interrupts you mid-sentence, and you just stop talking. They make a cutting remark, and you laugh it off nervously. Your brain is telling you, "I'm just being nice. I'm being polite. I'm avoiding drama." But here's what's actually happening. You're teaching them exactly how far they can push you. And this is the part that almost nobody notices because this entire mechanism happens in seconds. It's invisible to you, but it's crystal clear to them. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a door, and someone pushes it slightly. If the door opens, they push harder. If it stays shut, they move on. You are that door. And every time you don't correct a boundary violation, you're showing them the door is unlocked. This isn't about blame. This is about awareness. Because the truth is, most of us were never taught that being kind and having boundaries aren't opposites. We were taught that good people accommodate, that nice people don't make waves, that caring means putting others first. But toxic people, they were taught something different. They learned early on that testing boundaries works, and they got really, really good at it. Before we go deeper into this, if you're finding this valuable, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the rest of this series. And if this is hitting home for you, leave a like and drop a comment telling me which part resonated most. I read every single one, and your stories help other people realize they're not alone in this. Alright, let's keep going because this next part is where it gets really uncomfortable. Now here's the part that's going to make everything click. Toxic people test your boundaries the same way a hacker tests passwords. They don't break in with force. They probe. They test. They push gently until something gives. It starts small. A joke that feels slightly off. A passive-aggressive comment disguised as concern. A minor request that's just unfair enough to feel wrong, but not big enough to call out. And here's the key. If there's no consequence, they advance. Not because they're inherently evil, not because they woke up wanting to hurt you, but because they learned that it works. They learned that with you, there's no penalty for crossing lines. Most people stop here and say, "I just have bad luck. This always happens to me. I attract toxic people." But that's not accurate. The problem isn't what you attract. The problem is what you permit without realizing it. And here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to hear. Toxic people don't target the weak. They target the tolerant. Let me say that again because it's crucial. They don't look for weakness, they look for tolerance. They look for people who will absorb discomfort to avoid conflict. And if you're someone who prides themselves on being understanding, empathetic, patient, and kind, you're on their radar. Now, let's talk about the signal that seals the deal. Your silence when something crosses the line. Not the calm, confident silence of someone who's secure. The uncomfortable silence. That split second where you feel something's wrong, but you think, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it's not worth saying something. Maybe I should just let it go. To you, that silence is avoiding a problem. To them, it's information. It's confirmation. Because here's what psychology tells us. When you don't correct a behavior, you validate it. You might think you're being neutral, but in relationship dynamics, silence equals permission. And from that moment on, they're not testing anymore. They're advancing. And here's why this pattern keeps repeating in your life. Your brain is wired to prefer enduring discomfort over creating conflict. This is an evolutionary adaptation. Your brain does this to protect you from rejection, isolation, being cut off from the group. So your nervous system literally chooses silent discomfort over visible confrontation. It thinks it's keeping you safe. But here's the problem. Avoiding conflict today creates abuse tomorrow. The small thing you let slide becomes the normal thing. The normal thing becomes the expected thing. And the expected thing becomes the thing you can't escape without a massive blow-up. Toxic people understand this instinctively. You feel it too late. If this is landing hard right now, good. That means you needed to hear it. Because here's the truth most people avoid. They don't choose you because you're weak. They choose you because you're empathetic. Because you're emotionally responsible. Because you're reflective, self-aware, and you hold yourself to a high standard. Those are beautiful qualities. But without clear boundaries, they become an invitation. Being a good person without boundaries isn't virtue. It's a vulnerability signal. So if you want to break this cycle, if you want to stop being the person toxic people lock onto, here's where you start. And I'm warning you, this is going to feel uncomfortable at first. Stop explaining your boundaries. Stop justifying. Stop apologizing for what you feel. Stop softening what should be clear. A healthy boundary sounds like this. I don't like that. I'm not going to accept that. That doesn't work for me. Period. No defense. No nervous laughter. No 3-paragraph explanation of why you deserve to be treated with basic respect. Here's the real shift. Stop responding to please people. Start responding to stay aligned with yourself. When you do this, 2 things happen. Healthy people adjust. Toxic people leave. And both of those outcomes are a win. The moment you stop prioritizing their comfort over your peace, the dynamic breaks. They can't operate in an environment where their tactics don't work. So they move on to someone else who still hasn't figured this out. Toxic people don't detect you because you're naive. They detect you because you haven't yet learned that your peace is worth more than their approval. And when you finally learn that, when you truly internalize it, they stop finding you. So here's what I want you to take from this video. You are not broken. You're not cursed. You don't have some kind of toxic person magnet embedded in your soul. What you have is a learned pattern of tolerance that was probably taught to you as kindness. And now it's time to unlearn it. Boundaries aren't mean. They're not selfish. They're not rude. Boundaries are the difference between relationships that nourish you and relationships that drain you. And if someone gets upset because you set a boundary, that's not proof the boundary was wrong. It's proof it was necessary. Start today. Start small. The next time someone says or does something that doesn't feel right, don't laugh it off. Don't explain it away. Don't convince yourself you're being too sensitive. Just pause. Notice it. And if it needs to be addressed, address it simply and clearly. You'll be amazed how quickly your life changes when you stop negotiating your boundaries. If this video helped you see something you've been missing, subscribe to this channel right now because we're going deep into psychology, relationships, self-awareness, and personal power every single week. Hit that notification bell so you catch the next one. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who keeps attracting the wrong people and can't figure out why, share this video with them. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is show them the pattern they can't see yet. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.